You are currently thinking a thought that isn't yours. Right now, as you listen to these words, a seed is being planted in the soil of your subconscious, and you're already reaching for the watering can. You believe your convictions are made of iron, forged by your own logic and tempered by your own values, but you are wrong. You are a biological machine running on a script written by every voice you've ever trusted, and some you've never even met. If you don't find the seam in the wallpaper of your mind today, by tomorrow, the room will have shrunk, and you will have forgotten there was ever a door. Have you ever wondered why you can't remember the moment you started believing the thing that's currently destroying you? It starts with a whisper, not a shout. Real persuasion, the kind that rewires the circuitry of your soul, doesn't arrive with a fanfare or a demand for surrender. It arrives as an invitation to agree with something you already suspect. It's a soft hand on your shoulder in a dark room. Think back to a time when you felt uncertain, a moment when the world felt too loud and the answers too thin. That was the moment you became a canvas. The human mind is a vacuum. It loathes a void of meaning. When you are lost, anyone with a map looks like a savior, even if they're leading you into a deeper forest. This is the first phase of the descent, the quiet replacement of your internal compass with an external rhythm. You begin to adopt the vocabulary of your captor, whether that captor is a charismatic leader, a toxic partner, or a digital echo chamber. You don't notice the change because you are the one speaking the words. You think you're finding your voice, but you're actually becoming a ventriloquist's doll for an idea that doesn't care if you live or die. The architecture of your thoughts is being rebuilt, brick by brick. They use we to make you feel safe, and then they use them to make you feel afraid. Fear is the most effective neurochemical chisel. It narrows your vision until the only thing you can see is the narrow path they've cleared for you. You aren't being brainwashed in a cold room under a buzzing light. You are being curated. You are being refined until all the messy, contradictory, beautiful parts of your true self are sanded down into a smooth, predictable surface. You feel more certain than ever, don't you? That's the most terrifying part. Certainty is the anesthesia that precedes the amputation. Now the tension begins to tighten. You've accepted the new language, and now the old world starts to look wrong, foreign, hostile. The people who knew the old you start to sound like they're speaking a dead language. When they express concern, you don't see love, you see interference. You see an obstacle to the truth you've finally discovered. This is the isolation phase, where the dark persuasion cuts the tether to your past. Words are more than just labels. They are the boundaries of what we can imagine. If someone can control the words you use to describe your pain, they control the pain itself. They give you a name for your emptiness, and in exchange, they take your agency. You start to view your own memories through their lens. You rewrite your history, that happy childhood. No, it was actually a series of micro-traumas you weren't awake enough to see. That old friend, they were a parasite holding you back. You are being hollowed out. The internal collapse isn't a sudden explosion. It's a slow, rhythmic draining of your original essence. You find yourself saying things you would have found repulsive a year ago, but now they taste like honey. You defend the very things that make you miserable, because those things have become the pillars of your identity. To admit you are being manipulated would be to admit that you no longer exist, and the mind will do anything to avoid that realization. It will invent grand conspiracies, it will harbor bitter resentments, and it will burn bridges, all to protect the lie that it is still in control. You are a ghost haunting your own nervous system, watching a stranger make decisions with your hands. The pressure is now unbearable, though you might mistake it for purpose. This is where the rewiring becomes irreversible. Your brain has formed new neural pathways, deep trenches that catch every new piece of information and funnel it toward the same conclusion. Logic no longer works. Facts are just inconveniences to be explained away. You have reached the point of cognitive closure. Think about the last time you felt a genuine flicker of doubt. Maybe it was a late night, staring at the ceiling, when for one fleeting second the narrative didn't fit. You felt a cold shiver of recognition, a realization that you've become a caricature of yourself. What did you do with that doubt? You strangled it. You went back to the source, the book, the screen, the person, and you asked them to tell you the lie again. And they did. They gave you a new word, a new reason to stay, a new enemy to focus on. The persuasion is complete when you become your own jailer. You no longer need the manipulator to tell you what to think. You anticipate their desires. You police your own thoughts before they can even reach your conscious mind. You feel a strange sense of pride in your loyalty, unaware that your loyalty is actually a symptom of your disappearance. The tension has reached its breaking point, and the only thing left is the collapse of the person you used to be. The transition is seamless. There is no before and after anymore, only the eternal, suffocating now of the script. You are standing at the end of a long corridor of mirrors, and every reflection is wearing a mask you didn't choose. This is the heavy weight of the realization. The words have won. They have reconfigured the way you perceive the very fabric of reality. You cannot simply snap out of it, because the you that would do the snapping has been integrated into the system. But look closely at the edges of your vision. Do you see the slight tremor in the narrative? That small, persistent ache that refuses to be numbed? That is the part of you that survived the fire. It's small, it's weak, and it's buried under a mountain of someone else's adjectives, but it is there. It is the silent witness. It is the part of you that is currently listening to this and feeling a terrifying sense of familiarity. The door isn't locked, it just looks like the wall. To see it, you have to stop using their words. You have to sit in the silence until the noise of the persuasion fades, and you are left with the raw, terrifying, and unformatted truth of your own existence. It is an exhausting path back to the surface. Most people never take it. They prefer the comfort of the script to the cold wind of the unknown. They would rather be a well-defined slave than a shapeless free man. The words have rewired you, yes. They have mapped your mind and claimed your territory. But every map is just paper, and paper can be burned. The question isn't whether you've been changed, you have. The question is whether you are willing to face the void that's left behind when you finally stop repeating the lines you were taught. The silence is waiting. It's the only thing that truly belongs to you now. What will you do when the echoes finally stop, and you're forced to hear the sound of your own breath for the very first time?